Hey y'all, it's Mama Beth and I'm back in the kitchen, but this time, like I promised, I'm telling ghost stories. Now, if you enjoy ghost stories or you just enjoy my channel, hit that subscribe down below, okay? And hit the bell so you get notifications whenever I upload a new video. If you'd like to find me on Twitter, it's Mama Beth's Worlds. On Twitter, it's Mama Beth's Worlds. On Snapchat, and Mama Beth's World again on YouNow. And I live stream quite often, so definitely fan me on there and you'll get to enjoy some time with me and talking in the kitchen. But I promised that I would be telling some ghost stories throughout the month of October, because after all, it's almost Halloween. Now, the difference in my ghost stories, and a lot that you may hear, are mine are real. I experienced these. These are things that happened to me, and you can choose to believe or not. But I know what I saw and what I experienced, and I'm going to share them with you. And we're going to talk right now about Ouija boards. I won't play with the Ouija board ever again in my life, because after this experience when I was 17, I learned my lesson. Okay, you can open up doorways to other worlds, and you don't know when you play with a Ouija board if you're getting the person that you're asking for or you're getting something else, because spirits can lie. You never know. And they also know what scares you. Okay, this story was back in 1987. I was 17 years old, and it was winter day, Saturday, and I was with my friends, my best friend Patty at the time. She was, oh, I loved, Patty was like my sister. Loved her to death, and still do. And we were with her boyfriend, Tom, and his friend, Bobby, and then his little stepbrother, Matt. And the house we were in was Tom's, and it had been in his family for a while, and they had renovated it. It was a beautiful old farmhouse. It was like a Victorian-style farmhouse. Well, Tom had told us that a lady had died years and years before, that it was apparently one of his relatives from the past, but that she had died in that room, and that he always felt a little weird in the room, but he didn't really believe in spirits or anything like that. And I told him, I said, I do. I said, I've had too many things happen that convinced me that spirits were very real. And I'll go on and tell different stories that happened through my childhood and then on through my adulthood, and you'll understand why I believe. But he said, I don't believe in it. Well, Bobby said he had a Ouija board at his house, and he lived just down the road. He lived just a short distance, and so Tom convinced him to go get it. Well, he brought the Ouija board back, and we're sitting in the floor, and the board is flat on the floor, the stylus is on top, and Patty and I were the first ones to start using it. And we're circling it, you know, and now in the room we had a boom box, and it was Tom's, and he had one of those homemade tapes. You know how everybody makes mixtapes, or they made mixtapes back in the day. This one was, I remember it was either a 60-minute or a 90-minute tape, but it was one of the long ones, and it had all sorts of different music from, you know, the 80s in it, and we had it on, and it was low. We just wanted some background noise. And the only people in the house, now I need everybody to understand this, there were no pets in the house, and the only people there were myself, Patty, my friend, Tom, her boyfriend, his friend Bobby, and his stepbrother, and Tom's stepbrother Matt. Now, Matt was a couple years younger than us, but we were all seniors in high school. I was 17. Okay? So we're sitting on the floor, and Patty and I are moving the stylus around, and we're asking different questions like, is there anyone here? And it goes to yes. And do you know where you are? Were you in this house? Blah, blah, blah. And it kept going to yes, and it kept answering different questions. Now, a lot of people believe that the stylus moves from either electric magnetism or whatever that comes from your fingers, or from movement that you don't realize, involuntary muscular movement. But we were trying real hard not to do that. So, you know, when it would go like to yes or to no, it was kind of flying. It was going really fast, and I was getting a little bit freaked out, to be honest. But we asked the woman that we were trying to reach if she had died in the room, and she said yes. Well, Matt and Tom both knew the story that this was the woman had died in the room after a long illness, and she was bedridden, and she used to, apparently she would bang on the floor with her cane to get her daughter's attention, and her daughter would have to run upstairs and take care of her. Now we asked the Ouija boards, did you do this? Did you use your cane and bang on the floor to get your daughter to come and take care of you? And it went yes. And then we asked her name. What is your name? And it spelled out a name, and I can't even remember now, because honestly I was so shook up after this. I don't remember the name. She also gave us her daughter's name, and then we said, what year did you die? And it gave us a year. Now Bobby was taking notes. He wrote all this down, and the weird thing is, later they verified that it was the correct name of the woman and the correct name of the daughter and the correct year that she died. That was scary afterwards, finding out all that. But so Tom says, let me get on there and let me try it. And he gets on the Ouija board. He's on Patty's side and I'm still on my side. And I can kind of feel if there's a presence, or it feels like there's someone in the room. And I was feeling that then, and I said, I feel really weird. I feel like there's something here. Well, Tom was like, oh, that's bullshit. It's just you're scaring yourself, and there's nothing really here. And he was not only skeptical, he was kind of rude about it. And he said, will you prove, he asked the Ouija board, he said, will you prove that you're really here? And it went to yes, really fast. And I said, Tom, did you do that? And he said, no. And I said, okay. I said, will you turn the music off in 10 minutes? And it went to yes. And we all looked behind us where the boombox was by the bed and saw the digital, they had a digital clock there, and we saw the time. And Patty got up and went over and looked at the tape, and she said, the tape has hardly gone through. So she said, it's not even to the middle, so it'll last more than 10 minutes. And I said, okay, well, we'll see if it happens. I was open-minded about it. Well, Tom asked some other questions, just various questions, like I think, just crazy things, just silly stuff. Do you know my birthday? Do you know so-and-so's birthday? And it would answer. But, and it knew his birthday, and it knew my birthday, but then again, we were on the board, and it knew Bobby's birthday, and Patty's birthday, and Matt's, but we also knew their birthdays. So if we had been moving it, or if he was doing it on purpose, it really didn't prove anything. Well, then we're playing with it, and all of a sudden we hear it click, and we look around at the clock and the boombox. It's been exactly 10 minutes. And not only did the tape stop, but it ejected. Now, if you've ever played around with one of those old boom boxes, you know that you have to press pretty hard on most of them to stop a tape, much less to eject it. It takes 2 pushes a lot of times. That freaked us all out. And Tom started getting really rude and loud, and he's like, I don't believe in this shit, and blah, 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 and this is not real, and that doesn't prove anything. Well, all of a sudden, we started hearing footsteps, like somebody walking up and down the steps outside the room, like they're walking in the hallway and down the steps, and I was honestly terrified. I still get shook up thinking about it. But Bobby got up and opened the door and looked, and he said, nobody's here. And he said, there's nobody in the house but us. And I said, well, then who's making those noises? And Bobby came in and closed the door, and he came in and he sat down, and Tom was still saying rude stuff like, oh, you old bitch, and this and that and the other. And all of a sudden we heard crash, 2 crashes, and they're downstairs. Well, we all get up, of course, and we run downstairs. Now, 2 pictures, they were old family pictures, had come off the wall, and there was glass everywhere. It was like the steps ended here, and then the hallway went around. It was like a foyer, and there was glass shattered. Now those pictures were old, and if you are familiar with antique pictures, they have like a wire that is in the back and it hangs over a nail. The nail that they used were the antique nails that those pictures were hung with, and they have a big head on them, and it keeps the wire from, you know, jumping off. And the nails were still on the wall, and, you know, the pictures still had the wire attached to them. So it was almost like somebody had they would have to lift it up and throw it, because the way the glass was shattered, it was everywhere. Well, we run back upstairs, and Tom keeps saying things, and I'm like, Tom, we've got to stop this. And I said, apologize, please apologize. And he sort of gave a half-hearted apology. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, all right, you're real, you're here, you know, I'm sorry. But he wasn't very sincere, to be honest. He was not sincere with it. And I said, can we please close the board out? Can we please close this session? And it kept going, no, 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 over and over again. And I mean, at this point, I was begging. I was about in tears. And all of a sudden, we heard this tearing above us on the roof. It was like something was on the roof, and it was a fairly calm day. I mean, there really wasn't anything but a light breeze, but we heard tearing, and then we saw out the window a piece of a big hunk of shingles just fell to the ground. So we all run back downstairs and go outside, and you can see the roof above where we were. The shingles had been ripped off. You could see like the studs and whatever that paper is, that heavy paper that they put down before they put shingles in. You could see that it had been ripped off, and we're all shaking. Hell, I'm shaking now thinking about it. It would have had to take hurricane winds to do that, and there really wasn't much of just a light breeze, you know, like a light winter's breeze. So, and the roof had just been replaced. They had just renovated this house, and it was a beautiful home. But we had no clue why or how that could have happened other than somebody actually ripping it off. So we all go back upstairs, and we sit down at the Ouija board, and I'm like, Tom, you need to really apologize. Let's all apologize. And so we did. All of us said we were sorry. We were sorry for him being disrespectful. He apologized for being disrespectful. He was shook up at this time. He apologized, and I said, can we close this session out? Will you please go back to wherever you were before and not bother anyone and give us peace and not do anything else? We believe you're real. We understand that, you know, we've been rude. Can we close this session out? And it went to yes. And then goodbye. Okay. After that, we're all like, because, I mean, all five of us were terrified. Tom went over and checked his boombox again, and he closed the tape deck, and he was like, look, you've got to really push hard to even get it to stop. He said, and to eject, he said, you got to push harder. And I said, we need to clean up this mess downstairs. I said, before we discuss this any further, I said, if your parents come home and they see that 2 antique pictures have been shattered and there's glass everywhere, they're going to think that we've been partying or doing something crazy in the house. And I said, let's go downstairs and clean that up. So we went down. I got a broom. I'm sweeping the glass up, and Tom hangs the pictures back up. You know, the wires are still attached. The nails are in the wall. He checks the nails. They're solid. But of course now these 2 family portraits, family pictures, they have no glass in them. And he's going to have to explain that to his dad. And he was a little worried about that. Plus the damage to the roof. And we still couldn't figure out, you know, any rational reason that this would have happened. It made no sense. It all happened in such a short amount of time. But I got the glass cleaned up, and we all went into the living room where they had a fireplace. Tom started a fire. And I said, let's burn this Ouija board and the stylus. And we did. We threw it on the fire, threw the stylus on the fire, and we burned it up. And he never said that he had any more activity in the house. Thank goodness. So I guess we closed it outright. But you could not pay me any amount of money to play with a Ouija board ever again. I wouldn't have one in my house. I don't want one near me, because you can open doorways that can't be closed. And remember, you don't always get what you ask for. The spirit that came through may have been that old woman, the relative of his, or it could have been something else lying. Because spirits, demons, whatever, they lie. So evidently she was angry, whatever, it was angry and didn't like being disrespected. So we're not playing with any more Ouija boards. Don't you play with any Ouija boards unless you want to have the crap scared out of you, like we did. Okay, that's my story. I'll have some more. So definitely hit subscribe, hit that bell, and you have a wonderful October, a Spooktober, and a great Halloween. I'll be back. I'm Mama Beth. I love you, and you love you. Bye.